welcome to another episode of Gossip Finance, where I am your hostess, Alacia Singer.
I'm Duncan Sandlin. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing, Lacius?
I'm absolutely fabulous. I'm pretty excited about our topic this week. Duncan, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about the big con in finance, the big mistake everybody falls for. But first, we got some news on the show. We're going to go through Biden and his little classified document problem, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the student debt thing coming up in March. So we're going to do that real quick. But yeah, so it'd be fun stuff. Just to wrap up last show, we did the wage gap, and we just want to formally apologize to all the angry white men that were not happy about our take on the gender wage gap. I'm sorry, guys. We didn't mean to hurt your feelings. So
I have to say, I appreciate all the comments, although I'm a little bit confused with why people still don't understand that the problem is that somebody shit on the desk at all.
yeah, it's the problem. I
feel like they really did a great job of hammering that point home. I thought maybe we over hammered that point.
No, we underhammered that. No, they were.
How is that possible?
I don't know. We might have to boil it down. So yeah, if we seem condescending at all to our more intelligent viewers, it's not you. It's the others.
It's that other person who didn't seem to understand what we were talking about.
Absolutely. So we'll jump in right now with the news. So, okay, so I don't know if you remember this, Trump got in trouble because he had taken a bunch of documents, classified documents from the White House, like boxes of them, and he hid them at his resort in Mar-a-Lago, and they kept asking him to give them back, right? The National Archive did.
Wait. What, Hillary's emails?
Yeah, sure. Hillary's emails. So no. So anyway, yeah. So he wouldn't do it. He refused to do it. They finally got a warrant, and the FBI had to go down there and do a search. They call it a raid, right, on his residence. It was really more. They showed up, served the warrant to his attorney. They let him in. The feds went through his stuff and found boxes of documents, classified, marked top secret, classified by the government. It was funny. Some of the folders were empty. Oh, how you explain that one, right? They were like that when I found them. That's weird. Yeah, sure they were. So Biden just recently got in trouble because I don't know about trouble so much, but he had an office when he was still right after he was vice president while he was running for president, and his attorneys were tearing down the office recently now that he's president, and they found, oh wait, we have like a dozen documents that are marked classified, right? That he had in his office and he didn't know about. So immediately they turned them over. So there's a difference here, right? Trump actually knew he took them, refused to give them back. They finally had to get a warrant and go down and seize them. As where Biden's guys found him, Biden didn't know they were there. The attorneys didn't know they were there, and they just said, "Ups, here you go," right, to the feds. So that's what's going on. But I have some clips for you because, man, the right wing is flipped out about this, and it's just been so funny to watch. So this is just a little video clip real quick.
According to President Joe Biden, these classified documents were found in his personal library and in the garage of his home in Wilmington, Delaware. Just moments ago, Biden addressed the matter very briefly, saying it was a locked garage where he also keeps his Corvette.
So that was the first part. So he had the documents. The ones, a lot of them they found were in his garage. Now, if you don't know this, Joe Biden's got a kick-ass Corvette Stingray from the 60s. It's convertible. So, if you're going to keep something somewhere safe, that's probably the safe place. But anyway, still shouldn't have had him nonetheless. But, I can see, if I'm going to hide my shit, it's going to be with my kick-ass Corvette in the garage.
So, I'm just going to stop and say it seems as though these little security breaches are issues on both sides of the aisle. It kind of seems like none of them can manage to quite get this whole thing.
Well, but I want to clarify. There's two differences. One is the one guy took them, knew he took them, refused to give them back. The other guy didn't know he had them, found them, his attorneys immediately gave them back.
Oh, yes.
Big differences between.
Definitely a difference. I'm just saying, I think kind of in the, document security realm, we can find some failures on all sides. So everyone wants to sit and point the finger at the other guy, kind of say, they're all not doing great in this department.
No, I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say there's a big difference because this was the deal. So the conservative.
Intent is the difference.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, that and the amount too, right? Because Trump had boxes and boxes. Biden, we're talking about 10 documents total. On top of he didn't know he had them. Well, which could have been just an oversight. Could have legally had them in the first place and just forgot to put them back. I can see how that happens, right? One is an intentional taking, an intentional theft, right? One is accidental, right?
So Duncan, you have never accidentally ended up with like 10 whole boxes of something before?
No, but I've accidentally ended up with files and I'm like, oops, those aren't mine. That's happened lots of times, yeah.
But not 10 boxes worth?
No, not boxes, like one or two, right?
Yeah, that seems fair.
But anyway, so they're trying to equivocate this, and here's the Fox News machine in action. I hope you're excited.
Why aren't they in there right now with subpoenas going through every single record there?
Where's
classified
the raid?
documents. Right. Where is the raid? And
Where's the FBI raid?
We have a quote here from Representative James Comer from the Oversight Committee who said, quote, "Is the White House going to be raided tonight? Are they going to raid the Biden Center?"
Monday night in a post, Trump asked, when is the FBI going to raid the many homes of Joe Biden? Perhaps even the...
Okay, so where's the
When
raid?
is the FBI going to raid the many homes of Joe Biden?
Right, well, because they raided Trump's place, right? So why aren't they raiding Joe Biden's place? Why aren't they raiding the White House? I used to be a police officer. Let me explain something. We don't get a warrant to raid your place when you're cooperating and giving us everything.
Because you don't need one.
We don't need one. Furthermore, if we're in a situation where we didn't even know that the crime was committed, right? And you found out accidentally that you committed a crime or something happened accidentally, and then you confess to it and then give us all the stuff back, why on earth would I go raid your apartment? There's no need, right? Furthermore, let me point this out. If there's any place classified documents belong, I think the White House is one of them. I'm just saying, right?
I got nothing to add there.
I mean, it's like, oh my god, we got some fucking crackhead sleuths on our hand here, Lacey. These guys walk into a morgue and go, "Somebody call a homicide detective. Look at all these dead bodies." Oh man. Let's go raid the evidence room. I'm sure there's criminal shit in there.
Oh man.
It's all the genius stuff going on.
What else do we got? What else is happening out there? Because I have not been doing a good job of watching the news, but I feel like you're hitting me with the highlights, and the highlights scare me.
The highlights are fun. I got one more fun thing for Fox. It doesn't really have anything to do with much of anything, but I guess there was something in whatever their climate proposal or the climate thing they're doing, and I guess Fox News took that as the government's gonna make gas stoves illegal. Yeah, I'm not kidding you.
I feel they need to massage my forehead because I'm confused and I don't understand.
Oh yeah.
Biden administration be coming for your gas stove? The answer is yes.
Joe Biden's climate change agenda now targeting your kitchen.
Your family dinner is about to get a lot less tasty.
The White House is now attempting to ban all gas ovens and burners.
Biden's coming for your gas stove. A ban on your gas stove.
Ban gas.
This is, I mean, honest, I just got these clips and that's like 3 days worth of programming for them. And they ran that story over and over and over.
Duncan, the only thing in this cup is herbal tea, and I kind of wish I'd put something else.
Some vodka in there or something.
There should be boozy tea or something.
Oh, I
It's
know.
just-
So anyway, no, they're not coming after gas stoves. There was a report that basically said that having a gas stove in your house can increase the risks of asthma, especially to children, which is true. If you're burning gas in your house, yeah, that could happen. But so they're encouraging, people not to, or looking for ways to encourage, but they're not going to make them illegal. There's nothing out there.
Maybe try to encourage people to go electric stoves instead.
Right, or something, yeah, but they're not trying to make them illegal. There's nothing about.
It's just the stupidest news story I think I've heard in a really long time.
Well, it was a
Let's
couple.
another one to have something stupider than that.
Well, a couple of years ago, they were gonna there was with the Green New Deal. Their whole thing was, oh, they're gonna make it illegal to have cows because cows fart and emit methane, and it's like, and that means you can't have hamburgers or steaks anymore. And it's like, what the? Nobody said that. It was nowhere. Green New Deal. I read the Green New Deal. It was only like 30.
One thing.
Yeah, it's only like 30 pages. It didn't mention cows at all. Also, fun fact: cows don't fart. They burp. That's how they emit methane. If you learn anything from the rest of this show, please don't let it be that.
I feel like you need to clip that out. You just need to we just have one segment that's just you talking about cows burping.
Cows burping. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, so the student debt thing. So Biden had that whole deal where they were going to relieve $10,000 of student debt up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients, and that was kind of the big focus of that bill. We actually covered most of the bill, but that wasn't the biggest part. The biggest part, they're putting more money back into college. They're going to start reducing the cost, capping what it can be. They're going to start putting more government money into college directly, and they're going to change back.
Wonderful for people's kids out there.
Yeah, and they're going to change the repayment program. So now it's 10% of discretionary income. Biden's lowering it to 5%. Plus, they've narrowed down what counts as discretionary income, so that 5% is really more like 3 or 4 in comparison. So that'll be a huge deal for people repaying. And now what happened was, okay, so there were a couple cases that were initially found to not have standing. One of them I can't remember exactly, but it was what state it was.
Wait,
Yeah.
Pause. Tell us what it means if something does not have standing.
Oh.
Start us there so we know what you mean when you're talking about
So
this.
in court, if you sue somebody, like, I sue Lacey owes me $1,000 and I sue her, I have to show that she actually owes me the $1,000, that I have a reason to sue her, right?
So you have to show that there's any merit at all
All to the
your
case, right?
So you don't necessarily have to prove the entire case, but
No.
you have to show that there's some sort of merit to you even bothering to argue this.
Yeah, that there's some discrepancy
yeah.
here. Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like I could say Lacey owes me $1,000, and then and then the court will be like, well, what for? And I'd be like, just cause. The court's going to say that doesn't have standing, right?
Right, so you have to be able to, even at the onset, present enough to show that this is a case even worth being a case.
Right. So the case, I can't remember what state it was, whether it was Texas or something I can't remember. I'll look it up for you guys later. Right. Here's what happened, though. Essentially, I can tell you the outset. So a Republican group filed this case that it was Ohio. It was the state of Ohio, and they have a pension deal with the state, right, for their state employees. And a Republican group filed that, hey, if you relieve this student debt, it's going to harm this pension because this pension has invested some of their money in refinance student debt kind of stuff, right? Well, here was
sort of backed.
securities. Yeah. So anyway, the judge initially found that there was no standing. The initial judge that's oversaw this case, the reason he found that it was no standing was because the state of Ohio didn't complain about this. This was a third-party Republican group filing a motion on behalf of the state of Ohio, and the state of Ohio didn't want to file a motion. So this would be like,
We're not having a problem.
Right.
We're good. We're good.
so I have to bring in my prop. So this would be like, Lacey owes me $1,000, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. And Grogu's like, no, I'm going to sue Alacius on Duncan's behalf. And then the judge asks me, well, do you want to sue her? And I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. The judge is going to sit there.
And then the judge is like, so why are we
Well,
here?
yeah, why the hell are we here?
Why are we here? Why did I put pants on for this?
Right,
This is not a pants day.
right. I put a robe on, man. Anyway, so that's what happened, essentially, right? First judge kicks it down, but they appeal it, and the appeals in the Supreme Court in the Fifth Circuit is the most conservative. A lot of them are like Trump-appointed judges. And so they said, well, hey, you know what? This is too big of a decision for us to decide. We'll kick it up to the actual Supreme Court. So this is the case the Supreme Court's going to be hearing in March on whether or not Biden can give the student debt relief. Right? Now, given the Supreme Court, there's a good chance they'll knock it down too for some stupid reason. Right? But it's going to be really embarrassing for them, whatever the reason is, because there's not a really good reason at all. Especially when the plaintiff themselves is saying, I'm not a plaintiff. I don't want to be a part of this.
The plaintiff is like, why am I here?
Yeah. Well, the plaintiff won't even be there. The plaintiff is somebody else entirely. I'm here to complain on somebody who doesn't want to complain. I mean, it's just weird. So that's going on. But here's what's going on. There are other factors within the student debt relief program, and there are other things they can do. And so this is kind of where Biden's doing this pitch, and we'll see how successful it is if it's successful. But I just wanted to show you guys this real quick.
If you have student loans, you'll want to listen to this. Today, the Biden administration released a detailed plan that will make it easier for student loan borrowers to get rid of their debt using income-driven repayment plans and could cut some payments in half.
Now that the constitutionality of Biden's student debt forgiveness plan is being hashed out in the Supreme Court, the Biden administration has decided to rewrite at least one important portion of his proposal that would, in my opinion, have a massive positive impact should it actually be implemented. So this is aside from the up to $20,000 that Biden's plan would have forgiven. This is the part that I didn't think received the attention it deserved. We talked about it on the show, but it has to do with the student loan forgiveness plan and the income-based repayment program. That is going to be overhauled by the Biden administration in a good.
Okay, so that's Anna Kasparian with the Young Turks, and they're talking about this. So essentially, I'm going to just sort of sum this up real quick, what she's getting to. Because she's going to do more of a political analysis of this, and you should watch her political analysis. It's actually pretty good.
Right, but let's do a dollars analysis.
Yeah, we're just going to do the financial analysis.
Right.
What he's saying is, if this doesn't go through in March, if the Supreme Court for some reason shoots it down, right? What we're going to do is we're going to do the 10-year forgiveness program, and we're going to revamp it. So the 10-year program right now is, I think it's 20 years, right? If you're in certain jobs and you pay your student debt over like 20 years, they'll forgive all of your student debt as long as you make your minimum payments for 20 years without any lapse, right? They're going to say, well, no, we're going to do it 10 years, but you got to make your minimum payments. But once again, as I said before, they're lowering the minimum payment to 5% of discretionary income, and they've narrowed down what that is. So for people that are lower income, your minimum payment could be zero, or it could be a few bucks a month.
Is that still going to be based on having jobs with nonprofits and or government entities?
Yes, but this is all for everybody else too.
So even if you don't work for a nonprofit or government entity, you will get to flow into this.
Yep. So even if I spent $150,000 on my PhD and decide to go work for McDonald's, as long as I make my minimum payment every month for 10 years, after 10 years, I can apply to have the whole thing forgiven.
And this is whether you are a teacher working for a school, or you work for McDonald's, or you work for some big corporation. It doesn't matter who you work for.
As long as you're making your payment.
You make 10 years worth of payments, and they're going to say,
Goodbye.
goodbye.
That's this new loophole he's trying to do. Can he pull it off? We'll see. But that would be pretty awesome. Either way.
There's so many people.
Well, this actually is a little bit better of a plan than the $10,000 student debt relief, because you can get almost all of your student debt, if not all of it, relieved.
Yep.
In 10 years. I think everybody'd take that deal. I would.
Yeah, I'd take that deal all day long.
Yeah. Oh, I can make minimum payments for 10 years. Shit. So that was that. So that was the news segment for today. Fun stuff. But we thought you guys should know about that. And we'll keep you up to date more with the student loan program and what's going on with that. And we'll let you know more about the gas stove situation. And we'll let you know more about Biden and his documents and his Corvette. His Stingray. It is a cool car. It is a cool car. I'll give him that.
That's true. It's true. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
An old guy, he should have an old Corvette. That's cool. So anyways, our big lesson for today. So our main story today. We've been talking about this quite a bit. So we criticize some of these other financial shows, but the main criticism we have is that, one, the advice is not super great. It's generally pretty generic. And two, the problem we have is the main con that happens in finance. And we just want to sort of stick a flag in it so everybody knows. The main con is this. It's the grass is greener on my side. So if you want to come on over to my side, you need to give me money. And you need to listen to what I say and buy my products. It's the oldest trick of the book, right? It's the same thing like lifestyle coaches do and Tony Robbins does. Look how happy and well and well-groomed and rich I am. If you want to be like me, buy my books and come to my seminars and pay thousands of dollars. But that's why he's rich. Not because he's actually done any of this, because he's selling you this image that's not real.
Right. Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind that so much if people were teaching you how to do these things for yourself.
Right.
Like teaching a skill or content knowledge as opposed to just a one-size-fits-all systematic sort of thing.
Well, right. Well, that's my argument is if you're talking about like Deepak Chopra or Tony Robbins or those guys who are selling you that stuff, yeah, there are people that'll teach you how to do that for a reasonable amount of money, and they're called psychologists and therapists. Right? And they will actually help you with those skills, to develop those skills. Right? And they do it one-on-one. They're not going to charge you $5,000 to come to a seminar. They're not going to expect you to buy all their books at $50 a pop.
Or they're doing it in small groups and whatnot. I've worked with, varying coaches and whatnot, and I've been participating in a group that's like 4 people. And it's somebody who's more skilled than me that's teaching me, a certain skill set or whatever.
Well, and the difference is those people, when they're teaching that stuff, it's stuff that's been tested and it's been peer reviewed. So they're not just making shit up, right? That's the difference. As for the guru guy, is probably just making shit up, right? So that's one of those things where that happens in finance too, where there are people that can help you with your finances and stuff. They're called financial planners and accountants. and you sign contracts with them, and they're fiduciaries, and they do X amount for X amount of money, right? But they're actually helping you personally, as opposed to, no, come to my seminar, buy my books, buy my apps, watch my show, and give me advertising revenue. Right? That's the problem we have.
Right. Any teachers in that respect should be teachers that are like actually looking at your personal situation and trying to teach you things that have you empowered to think for yourself.
Right. Which is, I don't have a problem with you going on a show, and like we have a show here, and I don't have a problem with somebody going up and taking ad revenue and stuff like that. But we're not going to sit here and sell clients a bunch of stuff about, hey, if you just do what we say, you can be rich. Right? But that's the whole. But that's the con.
I have to tell you, even in my courses, and I'm not a financial planner. I'm a teacher and a coach, and I don't tell my clients at all what it is they need to be doing. I teach them certain bits of knowledge and skills, and I allow them to
do it
put
themselves.
that together, apply it to their situation, and then I kind of look at it and we talk about it and what it is they want to do, right? But if somebody's trying to put you into some one size fits all, or trying to cram you into a seminar of 5,000 people and tell you if you just take these following 5 steps that suddenly that's like the magic key,
Right.
I might be a little skeptical about that.
Well, I'm a financial planner, and I would never tell a client, I can make you rich. I've actually had clients come in and say, well, what do you want? Well, I want to be rich. Well, yeah, I can't do that for you. I'm not the guy, right? I can't tell you that as a fiduciary. It's actually, I could lose my licenses if I say that. But these guys can get on.
Guaranteeing an outcome that you have no control over.
Exactly. But these guys get on it all the time and say, hey, if you just do these things, this is how you become rich. Right? That's the con. And yet, that's not how they make their money. They make all their money taking your money by telling you they're going to make you rich. That's the game. That's the con. Right? So it's that whole joke about they're telling you, well, if you do these things, you'll be rich. Right? But these are not the things that they're doing that make them rich. Right? And it reminds me of, what was that bit on Sesame Street? One of these things is not like the other. Right, Lace? You remember that.
I do. I was a Sesame Street kind of a person.
Right. One of these things.
One of these things is
not like the other.
One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the other by the time I finish this song?
So,
I think we can, Duncan. I think we can.
I think we can. So these people that are telling you, look, I'll make you rich, like me, if you want to be on my side of the fence, right, where the grass is greener, just do what I say. But they're over there because they're taking your money. That's the con. That's the game. One of these things is not like the other.
Oh, so yeah, I have to jump in here. So, I am a personal finance coach, and I've worked with other coaches in other arenas, and you're always looking to learn from somebody who's a little further along than you are.
Sure.
But the point that Duncan is making here that I'm appreciating is that you want to pause and consider, A, is this person further along than me? And B, why are they further along than me? If the only reason that they're further along than me is because they're telling people how to be further along than me,
then they're not really further along in that
they're
sense.
not really further along than me, right? But did they do these series of successful things that put them in a path that's further along from me that I can learn from? And then B, is that what they're teaching? Are they teaching
right.
how to do the things they did that put them further along from me? Because if so, that might be worth my time and energy and potentially money. But if they're not really further along than me and all they're doing is like just selling a protocol that they may or may not have actually even followed themselves, what's the point?
Well, that's how they got their money, is they're bullshitting you. They're telling you if you do this...
They didn't get there through any authentic means that they're turning around to try to teach me.
Right.
You know?
I became rich by telling other people how to become rich, even though my advice is total bullshit. That's the con.
As opposed to, I became rich because I learned how to invest in the stock market. I became rich because I learned how to do these varying things with real estate and rental property, and I'm going to, teach you how to evaluate them. Or these things are legitimate skill to teach people versus...
Well, and even then, you can be the smartest person in the world when it comes to finance and never be rich. There are a lot of really brilliant financial people that never hit it, but a lot of part of it's luck. Part of it's You got to be lucky to know the right people, be in the right place, be in the right time. Being wealthy, becoming wealthy, at least if you're poor, right? Going from rags to riches, kind of thing. That is like falling in love, right? It's like tumblers in a lock. Everything's got to line up. It's got to be right person, right place, right time. Mark Wahlberg was not Wahlberg, Zuckerberg. I can't confuse those two. He says, sorry, Mark Wahlberg. Didn't mean to get on you.
Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark. No, Mark Zuckerberg, was not a super intelligent or brilliant guy. He just was in the right place at the right time. Elon Musk had a very wealthy father. That's what put him in the right place at the right time. So that's what happened. But they sell you this, oh, I'm a genius shit. And it's like, no, you're not. You're just lucky. Anyway, we're gonna look at a couple clips.
You know what? I'm gonna throw one thing in there though. You could be lucky and still have something valuable to teach if you're somebody who has the ability to back out of your luck and see what it was that happened right and really figure that out. Because that can be, you can stumble onto something really good and be smart enough to back out of it and go, I think you could reproduce this.
Right, but also you got to acknowledge, but there's also a factor here of luck. There's a factor of risk.
Of course,
where this could go wrong, and they never do that.
Yeah, that's true.
They never. That's one of those big signs is they don't really ever talk about the risk. They'll mention risk, but they never really talk about what it is because they don't really
pseudo guaranteeing results. Like they don't use the word guarantee, but they're kind of like putting out there like you couldn't lose.
Right. If you just do these things, everything will be fine and work out. Like there's no risk. When in fact, no, there's risk in everything you do and don't do. That's just a fact. So we're gonna watch a couple clips and we're gonna break them down. But that's the main focus that we're gonna kind of surround these things with today. And I got to take a quick break real quick, and then we'll jump right in. Is that okay? Okay. So our first clip today is gonna be the Ramsey Show, the Dave Ramsey Show. But we're gonna look at Ken Coleman and Jade Warshaw, and they're gonna complain about Gen Z and why they're terrible.
Well, Jade, we saw this headline earlier this week from Yahoo, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Here it is. Half of Gen Zers said they don't see a point in saving money until...
Yeah? Go for it.
You said this was Ken Coleman. This is Skippy.
Oh, that's not... You're right. This isn't Ken. This is...
This is not Ken Coleman.
George Camel.
Yeah, George Camel, a.k.a. Skippy, as you like to call him.
Skippy.
Just so we're clear on who we're talking about, because I know our viewers are going to know this, and they're going to...
God. Okay.
That is...
All right, so I had that wrong in the notes. So this is Skippy and Jade.
Things return to normal. Instead, they're investing in themselves.
George, you know I have thoughts on this.
That's why I brought it to you, Jade.
So many thoughts, so many...
So, they're referring to this article that half of the Gen Z kids coming out of COVID are they're not really saving for retirement as much as they're investing sort of in themselves. Okay, and I actually have the article. We can look at it, but essentially what they're talking about: one, they're visiting family or they're traveling. Some of that is that. Some of it is they're spending their money on. Now they're saying, "Oh, well, I want to start a business. I don't really want to work for somebody after going through COVID and all that stuff." I want to remind everybody when we're talking about Gen Z, these kids are, and they are kids, are born between 1997 and 2012. That's Generation Z. All right. So they're between 11 and 26 years old. And the complaint here is they're not saving for retirement. Those stupid 26-year-olds and 11-year-olds.
They're 11-year-olds.
Half of these people are under 18. So half aren't saving for retirement. Is kind of like, which half are we counting, guys?
Okay, I have to tell you, I didn't even have a job that gave me a retirement savings option through the workplace. I know you could open your own IRA or whatever, but I don't think I had a workplace retirement plan available to me until I was almost that age, actually.
Well, and furthermore, you can't even open an investment account, a retirement account, until you're 18. Your parents can for you, but you can't. So, yeah, so this is so stupid getting into it. So these are both financial experts. Granted, neither one of them has any education in finance, but they're financial experts. And they're giving you, the Gen Zers, advice about why you're idiots. Once again, one of these things is not like the other. Two people that work in finance and have for years and have education in it, and two people that don't.
Questions, so little time. Number one, the whole part about until things return to normal. We talked about this a little before the segment, and I'm like, are they talking about the pandemic? Because the pandemic is over.
Okay. Did you know that, Lace? The pandemic's over. It's over. According to who?
Okay, but okay, let's be honest. I have caught myself sort of saying that, and then I always catch myself and say, okay, it's not over. I just mean like we're not in lockdown anymore.
Right.
You know, so I do think people sort of misspeak when they say that. I hope they don't think it's like over.
Well, it's not over. No. The CDC hasn't said it's over. Hundreds of people are still dying every week from COVID. Thousands of people are getting hospitalized every week. It's not like it's over. Okay. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still bad. And you are talking about a pandemic that just for America, because we handled it really poorly. And I've said this before, more people died from this pandemic than we've lost in troops in every single war we've been in as a country. This is the biggest death event in this country's history. And these kids are between 11 and 26. So they're all under 26.
Those morons.
So the oldest ones were, 23 when this really started? A lot of them lost years in college, high school. They lost years of their youth that they're never getting back. I mean, prime years, they're never getting back. And okay, so they want to take some time, and they're a little reluctant to jump in and start investing and doing stuff, right? I think that's reasonable. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing. But to sit there and go, oh, well, wait till things are normal. Well, I don't think they're saying normal and like, oh, well, what like it was in 1922 or 1910 or whatever. They're not saying that. They're just saying when things are more level. Right? But it also kills me. The pandemic is over. That's a new one.
To define normal. What is
yeah,
normal?
exactly. What is it?
Well, normal is broke. We know that.
That's
Hey,
true.
okay.
But they're wanting it like normal.
What does that mean? Normal is broke. Do you know what that means, Lacey?
I think it refers to normal being like the perceived debt addiction or overspending, not having budgets. Like I think.
Well, I
not
think
following
it's a little
I don't know.
it's a little revealing too, because yeah, the average person does not make a ton of money in this country. There's a huge wealth gap issue, but I don't know what she's getting at with the normal is broke. Like there's some, I know what she's getting at. It's to be abnormal, be like us, watch our show, give us your money, buy our books. Then you'll be abnormal and you won't be broke. You'll be flush. You'll be good. You'll be rich. Right? That's what it is. It's just one of these things is not like another shit. It's the con. Come to our side of the fence, right? Be like us.
To them, I think is everything's great. The economy's perfect. I have a perfect job in the perfect place, and I can afford everything. I don't think that exists.
That is utopian. It 100% does not exist. And let's look at it from this angle. I mean, if you don't view times as normal, if you're still viewing times as, kind of like state of emergency or like crazy inflation, whatever, that's the best time to save, right? Like that's when we should be saving our money. That's when we should be pulling back a little bit. That's not really the time. I don't know. I feel like the
Wow, gosh. And she's a financial expert. That's what kills me. She's not a financial expert, by the way. That's just their title they give themselves. So, markets are in high flux, right? They're unpredictable, right? That's when you should be dumping all your money into the market. Depends, right? Depends. It could be that that's detrimental, right? It could be that that's a bad time to do it. You can't. It's not just things are. You can't just look at it like red light, green light. It's not. There are a lot of other factors going on here. I'll teach a neat saying that we have in finance, which is baked into the cake, right? And the idea behind baked into the cake is, well, this is happening and that's happening and blah, blah, blah. Is that baked into the market already? Or is that something the market's going to react to soon? Because if it is something the market hasn't reacted to yet, then it's not baked into the cake. So this idea that, look, this is the time to invest is when everything's fucked up. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But there's a lot of other things to factor in. And I think it's just weird that they're jumping right in with, well, no, you should be jumping in right now. There's no analysis here. It's just hyperbole shit. Anyway.
The thought here is a little bit backwards for me, but maybe I'm not a Gen Zer, so maybe I'm missing something.
56% of them put their retirement planning on hold during the pandemic. Which, if you're in a time where you're fearful,
Lacey, you there?
Yeah.
So 56% of people under the age of 23 at the time put their retirement planning on hold. That's a shocking statistic in no way.
See, I'm not gonna lie, I'm super shocked that high of a percentage of people under that age are doing something with their retirement.
Well,
I literally did not even have access to retirement accounts unless I had opened an IRA myself, which I could have. I didn't know anything about that. But as far as workplace retirement accounts go, at that point, college graduates are just barely getting into the workforce in a manner to where they even have access to that. So and not all places let you open them immediately. Sometimes you have to have been there a certain amount of time. So I'm surprised it's that high of an amount that can do that.
Well, here's what they didn't, because they never, once again, they never read the article completely, right? Because this article it's the main person they interview is a financial planner, a CFP, And she talks about, well, yeah, it makes sense that they want to do this or invest in these things. They just need to understand what their risk and reward are, which is what a responsible CFP should say. But this is not like a study. This is just anecdotal kind of stuff, right? She does mention sort of loosely in the article, and I went and looked this up, that in general, Gen Z people, right, people under 20, so 18 to 26 right now, that group saves more. And I went and looked this up, and there's a CNBC article, which I will attach below here, where Gen Z kids, on average, save about 14% of their income for retirement, which is higher than any previous generation at their age. So these kids are being the most responsible about saving for their future. More than the millennials, more than the Gen Xers, more than the boomers, more than the greatest generation. These kids are the ones doing it the most. And they read one headline that said half of them aren't saving until things are back to normal. And yet, as a whole, they save more than every previous generation. Right? Once again, it goes back to that's the con. They don't really know what they're talking about. They're just looking for a headline that they can spew something at you about and say, look, see, we're right. But if you actually read through it, no, everything they're saying is bullshit. Right? The pandemic isn't over. These kids are actually saving more than the average. Right?
And for that young age bracket, like, why are we judging them so harshly? I mean, obviously, we always want those numbers to be higher of people saving and how much, but we have to like stop and give them credit at their age brackets and how many of them are employed within situations that makes that very accessible. You know?
No, but I also see where they're panicking because they grew up through a pandemic.
Right.
They grew up. I mean, these kids, their whole lives, we've been in the two longest wars in this country's history simultaneously. Multiple recessions. I can see where these kids are a little bit like, people that came out of the Great Depression, where it's like, no, you need to save and be prepared and be careful because you never know when it could go away. I think there's a little bit of shell shock here, and I don't think there's a problem with them going, well, hey, we've had the last 3 years we've been locked up and lost, and that was that was our youth. That wasn't like we were in our 50s or our 40s, right? Where it wasn't a big deal. When you're in your 20s and you can't do anything for 2 years, fucking, that's devastating. When you're in your teens, you can't even hardly go see your friends. That's devastating. Yeah, so if they want to take a little break, I don't see the problem, but it's pissing them off. They're angry. They're upset. Because you're not listening to them and giving them your money. That's what it is. It's the big game, the big con.
I feel like saving more money would be beneficial.
That's what I'm saying. You should be saving. And more questions. Again, more questions. Gen Zers. So
they are saving. This
young America. I'm thinking, and here's my thoughts here, because I want people to retire, and I want them to invest in their retirement early, because we know that when it comes to investing, time is your friend, right? But it's also making me wonder, like, what, you're investing already? Do you have debt? Are you working the baby steps? Like, there's a way to do this and do it right.
And there it was. Thank you very much, Jade. God, she is so perfect. She is the perfect example of the scone. She is, man. Every time I see her now, she's new, but you should be doing our system. Are you doing our system? If you're doing our system, good for you, because you're going to be rich. That's the way to do it. That's how you need to be saving and doing all this stuff. But if you're not doing our system, well, I don't know. You're kind of an idiot. But that's the game. Do you have anything else on that one? Because that was...
No, that one, it feels so straightforward and
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is part of it is their show and the way it's set up is it's mostly anymore. They mostly get people over 50. Those are the people watching it. It's mostly white evangelicals. They're older, right? They don't have a ton of like young viewers. So the one thing you can always guarantee with older viewers is if that's your demographic, well, let's just shit on the young people. You know, it's the whole bit about, you know, when I was your age, I had to walk to school uphill, both ways, in the snow, barefoot. We didn't have clothes. We had to wear potato sacks.
And we wore bread sacks over our feet to keep our feet dry.
Right. What was the one I loved? Bill Maher, who's kind of a weird guy. I don't want to comment too much on him, but he had this whole thing where he did the old man bit. I think he was on Joe Rogan. Maybe we watched that clip one day because it's funny. Because he talks about these kids today are so weak and they don't care and they're just, they're coddled by their parents. He's like, I remember when I was a kid, I had to ride my bike 5 miles to the dentist to get a cavity filled without Novocaine and then ride my bike back. And these kids today don't understand that. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, dude, I know kids that if you told them that story, they'd go, wait, you had a bike and a dentist? And you're bitching?
There are kids that didn't have either.
There are kids that now don't have either. Talk about what 20 or 30 million kids are go have food insecurity, go hungry most nights, and you're gonna sit there and bitch about, well, I had to ride my bike to the dentist. Okay, what'd your dad do? Is he a rocket scientist? Fucking asshole. All right, we're gonna do one more clip here. Number one thing keeping you broke. This is about car payments. This has got your favorite, Rachel Cruz and Jade Warshaw again, because once again, she's
on the show, Jade.
She's just so good at giving away the game.
We love to do some like reaction videos, right? On TikTok, Instagram, there's always some fun money videos out there that we see, and sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes before the show, we're like, oh, I'll do a quick watch, or one of us sees it and finds it before the show to play it. But this clip, James came in during the break, and we have not seen.
I'm scared.
And he's like, I really want you to see this clip live on the show. And
I'm
so we
scared
said,
of what we might find.
We said, okay, we are brave, courageous women, Jade. We can do this. But so we just heard it's about car loans, so that's all we know. All right, James, play the video.
Sir, what is your car payment?
Mine is $1,325.
And what kind of vehicle is that?
It's a 22 Ford Raptor.
Okay. You have another payment?
I do actually. My wife's hers is $1,000. It's a 22 Ford Expedition.
Hey, ma'am, what is your car payment?
$1,386.
And what kind of car requires a $1,386 payment?
A 2022 Grand Wagoneer Series 3.
Hey, sir, what is your car payment? I got a couple of them, but the first one's $1,445. What kind of car is that? That's a new GMC Sierra 2500 Denali.
Holy crap.
It's a white
These are so
body
expensive.
CPSP. That's $1,161.
Okay, so
Okay, well, I think those car payments are bonkers myself, so
They are.
I'm going to say these are insane car payments.
I
mean, I live in New York City, and that's a lot of people's rent here. I mean, not even live in the really uppity apartments by yourself or whatever, but like,
yeah. Well, I've got two comments. One, don't they look like they're on a 90s sitcom? What is with the jean jacket and the red coat thing here? What the hell is going on there? The hoop earrings and the big... oh my god. I feel like I'm on an episode of Martin. Anyway,
okay.
so that was my first comment.
To hear, I want first she was writing down every time they said how much they made for a car payment. She was writing it down, but why is she writing it down?
Well, it's not like they're gonna. It's not like they're gonna do any math. I mean, they're just writing down numbers. Here's the other funny thing. So, I was curious about this TikTok, right? And the main thing I was curious about, and maybe this is just because I used to be a cop and I think about things. All the cars are GM model cars, right?
Right.
And the guy in the last clip is sitting at a desk, and the window behind him is directly into a garage. So what I found out was this TikTok is a GM dealership. So all these people are car salesmen, or they work for the car company that sells the cars. Okay. Well, of course, if you're that company, you want your employees to have the cars that they sell. You don't want your salesman showing up at a Toyota Tercel, right?
Well, that's kind of a dirty thing to do to your employees, because you get them on the hook for that big of a freaking car payment. They can't go anywhere. That's interesting.
You'd think so, except for the fact that car dealerships that do that, like GM, BMW, even Toyota, Mitsubishi, whatever you want to do it, they have this deal because they're salesmen. They require them. They do these things called car payment reimbursement programs, or business vehicle reimbursement. So they're not paying the total amount of that $1,000 car payment. They're paying probably 20% of it, if at all, depending on the dealership.
So that 1,400 is probably like 300.
Because the dealership's paying for, and the beauty of it is the dealership gets a deal through GM, and GM gets to take a huge write-off.
Okay,
so there's
the question is, what was the point in that TikTok video? Because did we see the very beginning of it where they kind of like give us the, they frame it where they kind of tell us what the point is? What was the point in this video? Like who?
I didn't get the whole video.
Created it and what purpose?
I didn't get the whole video, but my understanding from what I saw of it was the point is this is a brag about you could have, one of these really expensive cars as a perk if you work for a car dealership like this.
Oh.
It's a recruitment video. It's
So
not. It's not a.
Yeah.
It's not a shame
They
video.
sort of whacked off the beginning and ending parts of it that give you the context. Because I was wondering the whole time, what's the context for this thing? I really thought those dollar amounts were insane.
They are insane.
But I wanted to know the context, like why was this video even put out?
That was what it
But
was.
it's recruitment, and probably the part that's being left out is how much they actually pay of those amounts.
That's
They
right.
only say the total amount.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Which is the point is look at how expensive these car payments are that these guys have that they're not paying. So if you work for a car dealership, even though you're making $60,000 or $70,000 a year working there, you could still be driving a car that, somebody making $150,000 could afford. That was the whole deal. It's a perk. They're selling the perk of working here. Once again, they never do any research. And we always laugh about it because they have, the company's worth hundreds of millions, Ramsey Solutions that they work for. They're there on camera. They've got people working they've got multiple cameras, right? They've got people working the cameras. They've got producers in the booth. They've got all kinds of people to help them. And nobody can do 5 minutes worth of research. And yet I can do it here.
And you know what our budget is?
Our budget's nothing.
This is our budget sheet, guys.
That's
This is
right.
our budget sheet.
In the magical days in the future, if our budget goes up, we'll let you know what our budget is. But we're not going to, right now it's nothing. But that's my point is, they don't even know that. If she'd have spent more time and energy on the story, if both of them had, than their 1990s look, like they're auditioning for Friends. I mean, it's just But let's watch them get all worked up about it. Once again, financial experts, you need to listen to them if you want to be rich, even though they have no idea what they're looking at.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the video is a guy with a phone going through it. It looks like an office. I don't even know where they are. Asking different people what their car payments are. So they're there on video.
It's a car dealership.
Oh, it's a car dealership.
It's the people that work at the dealership.
Oh, so they knew it was a dealership. They should have known this.
These are their cars, James. Y'all,
Well,
I can't speak, Rachel.
Holy crap! Can I say that? When I use an example,
no
when I just
words.
use an example of a car payment on the show, and I'm like, yeah, you know, a $500 car payment, like,
Well, yeah.
that feels big. We're talking in the thousands.
I was prepared to talk about the average car payment, which is like $717. I was prepared to yell at people for $717. My guy has a $1,400 for car one.
For one car.
One car.
For one car.
Oh Lord.
So that's what's crazy is
I'm sorry. Rachel, I'm sorry.
Give us some vibes, Jane.
Oh,
You got this. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Rachel.
Go, Jane. Just go. What is happening? Go.
These people are dumb. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Rachel, you are so...
Look, they're stupid. These people are so stupid. Oh, except for they're not paying these payments. The car dealership's paying. GM's paying.
I'm not even really upset at the personalities. I kind of feel like their researchers, the people who prepared their show notes and whatever, gave them no context. Like the people who found these videos and put them in front of them didn't give them any real data, so they literally set them up to lose their minds about something rather than give them the whole story. And I know that that speaks extremely well for the organization, but I'm actually not feeling the need to say anything bad about the actual personalities themselves on that one.
I'm going to disagree with you on that, and here's why.
Okay. Sure, hit me with it.
If I give you a sound sheet and it's a clip and I haven't researched it or something, or you watch it and you flip out about it and I've given you no context and you sound like an idiot, it's not my fault. You should have fucking double checked. If you're going to get up there and say something, you need to make sure that what you're saying is true. You can't blame your assistant.
I think we should delete most of our videos because
No, I know, but...
I'm watching them totally blindly.
Well, no, but we explain that you're watching them blind.
Oh yeah, I say that. I don't pretend that I've seen it before. I literally say I.
No, but I also know, but I also give the sound sheets and I show you that I have context, and I know what we're looking at and why. I'm not just blindly throwing shit out there. I mean, a couple times we've done that, but that's more of stuff that we know we don't have to.
I'm just being very honest that sometimes I've seen these, but many times I haven't seen them.
No, but I'm just saying the bottom line is you don't have to worry about it because we have context beforehand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And you do get a sound sheet, and I do give you notes with context. So it's not like, it's not like you can sit there and go, well, it's total dipshit. I mean, but even if I gave you something that was out of context, you can't sit there and bitch at me later because it's like, well, Lacey, I'm sorry. Maybe I made a mistake, but you're the one who fucking said it. Right. It's the whole thing. It's the Osama bin Laden thing. He didn't know that 9/11 was going to happen, but it's still his fucking fault.
I do completely hear your argument. I'm also going to say for a show that large and an organization that large where you have like a whole team of people that's sort of doing the content writing and creation and all of that whatnot. I don't know. I mean, I don't know when they get show notes, if they get show notes, but like, I hope they got context. I guess I can't know for sure that they didn't, but it sure didn't seem like they were aware of it.
I don't think they ever do. I don't think that that's a priority. I think it's more about sending the message because I don't think their audience is going to double check this, and they don't trust their audience. Yeah. Right? I think they literally, this is, once again, it's literally the con. It's the listen to me and things will be better over here. They just want the headline. They don't want the context, right? Because the context makes it too nuanced, and then their whole scam goes out the window, right? Because if we look at the actual context here, the context is these people aren't paying that for the most part. And so their whole reaction is nothing. But that's not good television. It's better television if the world's about to blow up, right? You don't want the average American to be thinking about things in context and nuance and making wise decisions. No, you want the average American glued to their TV, buying your products because they're scared shitless the world's going to end before the next commercial break. That's the con. It's better over here. Come over here. But if you don't pay attention to me the whole time, you're going to fuck it all up. Constant, right? It's the game. It's just a game. And like I said, we're talking about two people that claim to be financial experts, never studied finance, no background in finance, other than doing this, if you can call that a background in finance, right? And they're telling you, we have the answers to become rich. You just need to pay attention to us and buy our shit. Right? Versus me, who's worked in finance for 10 years, executive certificate of financial planning, master's of science in finance. You've been a financial coach for years and years and years. You worked in banking. You've done accounting. Right?
Right.
We've worked with a lot of individual clients. Lots of experience. We don't have the budget and the money they do. But you can sit there and say, well, you guys are idiots. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe, but we're not liars. And we actually read the fucking articles and we double check the source. Goes back to our Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. All right, let's dive back into to this Friends episode. God, these outfits are ridiculous.
So kind. And you need to pray for me right now because this is I've lost my words. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. 13, 14, 1,200 on cars on one vehicle. You are stealing. You are robbing from your future. You're robbing.
Except for you're not paying it. The company's paying for it.
You're robbing yourself. I said it before the break. I said, Rachel, the car payment, that is the thing. That is the gap that keeps the middle class from becoming and building wealth.
Because if you invested that car payment, what it would be. It would be.
If I was prepared, like I said, I was prepared to talk about the average car payment, $717 for one person. And if you invested that money just over 30 years at a 10% rate, that's over $1.4 million. Yeah, $1.4 million.
Oh, what I do this is the other little trick. So once again, they're not going to do the math. We could have done the math. I could do the math now if we wanted. She said that 1,717. Okay, if you invest it just 30 years, Lacey. Just 30 years, right? Just, more than 2/3 of your life. Closer to 3/4. Just that amount of time. If you just invested that long, right? Then you could have $1.4 million. Granted, you'll be in your 60s or 70s by the time you get it, right? And even then, that 1.4 million in today's dollars, right, when equivalent to today's dollars, is not as much money. It's not 1.4 million today. It's 1.4 million 30 years from now, right? And I can even do that one real quick. So we want to do 1.4 million in the future. And we'll do inflation. That would be 450,000, 58,000 a day, something like that. Right? So not quite as much money as they're advertising it to be. Right? So this whole thing is just a fucking game. It's a shell game at the end of the day. Right? So, see, if you just listen to us, that could be $1.4 million. And you're sitting there thinking, ooh, $1.4 million, that's a lot of money. Yeah. But in the future, that's not going to be worth 1.4. It's going to be worth about 458. And that's if you're getting your 10% interest, which if you look at the track record of the market of the last 30 years, it's only been 8 on average. In the last 20, it's only been 7.
And it could be less if you're not somebody who's really paying that much attention to those investments. And I'm not trying to throw people under the bus, but people just sort of set it, forget it, and literally don't go back and look at it. So they might not actually be, you know, I'm optimistic and I like that 10% number, but like my 10, your 8, whatever, if they're setting it, forgetting it, not looking at it again, they might not be getting even anywhere close to either of them.
It's why when I do market projections, I just use 6. Because if I'm wrong on the downside, not on the upside. So I'm not over promising shit.
Right.
You know, it's been my whole motto as a businessman is under promise and over deliver. Right. That way everybody's happier, right?
Right. When they get 10, they're thrilled, as opposed to they get 8 and they're ticked off.
Right. Right. That's just the general rule. But I still love it. They're financial experts. Give them your money. Buy their products. Buy their advertising shit. Buy their apps. Buy their books. They know what they're talking about, but they don't even know what they're looking at.
What I want to know, and I know we're not going to learn that this segment, but going back to what I said before, you know, whomever you choose to work with, whether it's a coach or, you know, an accountant or a financial planner, etc., you want somebody that is a little further along than you are and can teach you things you don't know yet.
Sure.
And I just can't help but wonder if either of those experts are further along than the people they're trying to teach.
Well, in the sense that they've been given more money in their lives, yeah. But in the sense that they've earned it or got there, I doubt it. I especially know that's true with Rachel.
Or skill-wise, in terms of knowing what literally to do, like from experiencing doing it.
Oh, they have none. Like I said, none of these. That's the thing about all the people with Dave Ramsey. None of them have any real experience.
Right.
You know, and even Dave, he did his real estate finance degree, whatever he claims it is. Even if he did the finance degree at the University of Tennessee, and I don't know that there was one when he was there in the 80s, right? But I was curious about it because most finance degrees don't include personal finance. It's corporate finance. It's business finance, and right. even the university
lost completely in there.
Right, and even the University of Tennessee today, and their finance program, their business finance program for a bachelor's degree, there's one class that they offer that covers personal finance, and it's not personal finance, it's insurance. So Dave Ramsey sitting there going, I'm an expert in personal finance. From where? Where did you learn it? No, he's a guy who had a friend and he fell ass backwards into a radio show. And then he just used the insurance company's program forever, and then he just sort of rewrote it and claimed it as his own. That's all that's happened here. There's no expertise, there's no advancement, but the bottom line is, I'm rich, right? Look how good I look and all my stuff. If you want to be like me and come to the grass is greener side, you need to buy all my shit and listen to everything I say and pay attention to everything I say. Right? And if you do that, one day you'll be rich. I mean, just 30 years from now. Just 30 years. Not that long. Just 30. Just most of your adult life. Just gone. No. But if you do that, you'll be rich. But then the beauty is that with that con, right, is they're making money. That's how they make their money, is by you giving them your money. So they can teach you how to become rich like them. When that's not how they're becoming rich. They're becoming rich by conning you and giving them their money. And then the other side of that coin, which is so funny to me, is if it doesn't work, right? If I give the advice and it doesn't work, then, well, it's your fault. Because you were stupid. You're one of those Gen Zers who didn't save enough. You spent too much money in your car. You're an idiot. It's not my fault. My plan was genius. You just fucked it up. Right? It's bulletproof if you're an idiot and you listen to this shit. And once again, these people are telling you, we're financial experts. We know what we're talking about. The first clip, they didn't even read the article that they were talking about. They just read the headline. And we had to make fun of them for that. And this one, we're watching a TikTok video. They don't even know the context of the video. They're bitching at these people for having high car payments when these people aren't paying them. Their employers are. It's a perk, which was the whole point of the video. I mean, we do this so many times. We've done this, and I keep feeling like we get criticisms and stuff from people. It's like, that's the game. It's very, very simple. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just selling you shit. And it is shit. It's not even good stuff. You know? So we're going to do this last little video to wrap it up with the man himself, David Ramsey.
If you want to win with money, let me give you a good idea. Figure out what most people are doing and run in the other direction.
Just speed him up because he's slow.
Run in the other direction. Most people are broke. Most people look good, and they're broke. They spend more than they have coming in. They don't act their wage. They don't live on a plan. They don't agree on spending with their spouse. Their only hope for retirement is that the government, which is well known for its ability to handle money, will take care of them. They don't have money set aside for emergencies. They run credit card debt and student loans and car debt all day, every day. They spend like they're in Congress. Most people are stupid when it comes to money. 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The bankruptcy rate is at an all-time high, and foreclosures are rising again. Credit card.
Okay, so now we have the master himself. Those other three, they were easy to kick, but now Dave's got he's been doing this for 30, 40 years, right? He's got this down. He knows how to do this game. All right, what are we doing? Blame the government for a lot of stuff. Always good, right? Conservative audience is mostly what he's got.
It's also, no matter what side of the aisle, it's easy to get people angry at the government.
Sure. On top of that, we can go, okay, well, wait a second. Most people are broke. 70% of people can't live within their means, blah, 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 blah. So if you're one of those people, you're a total fuck up. You need to be listening to me. And if you're one of those people that follows me and still lives like that because you can't get out of it for some reason, or that's the circumstance you're stuck in, well, that's not my fault. That's you because you're being stupid. See? So he's covered it on both sides. Right? He's covered his scam on both sides. The other thing about it is you can bitch about all these other little things, but now he's gish galloping with all these other little things about, well, people can't say this or that, or the government's stupid with money, or blah, blah, blah. So now we've covered, 12 different issues in a few seconds. Right? So there's no way to address anyone individually. Even if we were to address just what he did, us right now, it would take us at least 15 minutes.
Sure.
Right? So it's a gish gallop. It's a debate technique, which is you just throw a bunch of shit out at the other person so they can't respond.
Attack 1,000 different things because they can't defend all of them.
Right. Death by a million cuts. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. So Dave's really good at that. But it's still the same game, which is you need to listen to me. So even with the gish gallop and all that, he does stay on point. And the one point is you need to be listening to me, Dave Ramsey. He's good at this. Don't get me wrong. He's not a stupid guy, but this is how he's made his money.
Our debt continues to climb, and we have $1 trillion in student loan debt out there. The average car payment in America today now is $496 over 84 months. That's stupid. Normal in America is broke and stupid. You don't want to be normal.
Oh, that's where she got that. Okay. That's a good sales point, actually, when you think about it. Normal is broke and stupid. Abnormal, smart is me. I think I actually picked that out before. But that's the point, right? But it always comes back to the you need to listen to me. This is where your money and your attention needs to be. This is this game, kids. It's not that hard.
You want to be weird. One of the greatest compliments you can get on this show is if you call up and I say, man, you're weird. I'm looking at weird people. You guys are weird, which means that you're contrary. You are a contrarian. You are perpendicular to the culture. When the culture has lost its way, the best thing you can do is be opposite. Figure out whatever they're doing and do the other thing, right? Because you're only going to get what they're getting when you do what they're doing. This is not hard to figure out. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. You do reap what you sow. You live in a cause and effect world, baby. There's no way around this. So your goal, when I went broke, I realized my goal is to be weird. My goal is to be different. And personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. So this is not some math formula that you got a problem with. This is a person in your mirror. I figured out if I can make the guy in my mirror behave, he can be skinny and rich. He's got issues. And once we realize that...
It's a script. It's the same script we hear every time, over and over. Be weird. 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge. Because your behavior is not at all related to what you know. It's all bullshit. That's the thing. It's so great because it's all meaningless platitude. Who's the guy? Daniel Dennett. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was a philosopher. He had this. He coined this phrase. It's really great. It's called the deepity, right? And I think he stole it from his niece. But the idea is a deepity is something that sounds profound, but when you think about it for 5 seconds, isn't. Right? And you can spot it easily. And he points this out. You can spot it because to the point that it's true, it's trivial. And to the point that it's interesting, it's false. Right? Give you a great example. Finance is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. Well, to the point that's true is, your behavior is going to dictate what happens to you in a lot of sense, right? I mean, not totally. There are other factors, but your behavior is going to be a big factor.
These percentages he's absolutely making up, but the point that the behavior counts is valid.
Sure, but to the point that that's true, it's a trivial fact. Right? Of course it is. Right? It's trivial. We all know that. Now, to the point where it's intriguing, well, it's 80% and 20% head knowledge, which means it's more about what you do and less about what you know. Well, that's bullshit, because if you don't know anything, you're going to make bad decisions. Or you're more likely to. Right? Or if your knowledge is wrong, you're definitely going to make bad decisions. So to the point that it's intriguing as a statement, it's bullshit. That's what we call a deepity. To the point it's true, it's trivial, intriguing, it's false. It sounds profound, but it's really stupid when you think about it for 4 seconds. But it sells. And the fact is he rambles it off with a bunch of other shit. So if we sit there and we label up like 10 deepities together, right? Now you're like, oh, that sounds really intriguing because you never have the chance to stop and pick them out one at a time.
Sure.
Like I said, he's good at this. It's a game, right? But this is the sales pitch.
He's been doing it for 30 years. He should have gotten good at it by now.
Yeah, well, but at this point, it's not even that. It's so much. It's a script that he has that he's memorized over and over and over again. I've got all these sayings, all these things. Attack the government. The 20% head knowledge. Don't be normal. He's got a bunch of these things that he just spits out, rapid fire. And it sounds good until you analyze it for fucking 30 seconds. And then you realize this guy's full of shit.
Behavior is what causes people to handle their money poorly or handle it well. Then what we've got to decide is our behaviors. And if you have the same behaviors as broke people have, when it comes to money, you're going to have the same results broke people have. You're just going to be another broke person.
I want to qualify that for a second. Sorry, I just want to qualify that for a second. So the idea that if you have the behavior of a broke person, you're going to end up broke. I'm sorry, didn't Elon Musk just lose $200 billion? And yet he's still worth over $150 billion. Yeah, so no, that's bullshit. That's just a simple example. But I know a lot of rich people who throw money around like they're fucking idiots. And they're still going to be fucking rich when they die.
Because they started off with more or already had more in some manner.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that are poor, they're broke people, that work their asses off and save all their pennies, and they're really responsible. But then, that one medical debt comes up, or they have to fucking fix their car or something, and now they're in the shit again.
Right.
So this is bullshit. It's an income issue. It's not a intelligence issue at that point.
$1,000 a year and you're broke. You got no money at all. You got a mess. Loans coming out your ears. Can't breathe. You run like a rat in a wheel, have a heart attack and die, and wonder what happened. This is no way to live. Buying things you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't really like. Some of you spend an unbelievable amount of money on a car payment to impress somebody at a stoplight you will never...
All right. And I kind of want to end with that point there, because that is my favorite part. So the point is, look, I know you're stressed. You're broke. You're out there. I feel you. I feel you, Lace. I feel you. You're out there. You're stressed. You're broke. Things are tough. I'm gonna pull the mic in close, and you can't save money, and you're spending too much. And where are you gonna turn? Anyway, I have a book to sell you, and you should buy my program. You should come to my seminar. It's only like $5,000. And you know where I've heard these speeches before? You ever watch evangelicals on television? Send me money. I need a plane to preach the word of the Lord. If you seed the money, it'll come back to you. Max out your credit card to donate money to me.
Didn't Phil Collins write a song about that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he did.
Yeah. It's the whole thing. It's the evangelical scam. And he's got it down. He's got it down. That's why most of his...
I feel like we should be playing that Phil Collins song right now.
I can't remember which one it is, but...
There is a Phil Collins song like that, I'm sure.
Yeah. But that's what it is. And that's the point. And that was the whole argument, right? It's better on this side of the fence. All you got to do is listen to me and give me your money. That's the scam. And it does happen in finance. You don't see it really, sometimes you see it on like the advisor level. You don't really see it with the fiduciaries because, they can get in a lot of trouble and get fined a lot of money. So they don't do that typically. But when you see it on like television or YouTube or you're watching, and this is the whole point of the whole reason we started this show, boys and girls, was part of this was we worked in this industry. We watch this shit sometimes on TV or we hear it on the radio and we're going, how is this fucking legal? That you can talk to people like this. I mean, it's one of those things where we're sitting there. We actually, when we first talked about doing this show, that was what the question was. Who told these people they had the right to work with others? Because they fucking don't. They're con artists. It's bullshit. He has no personal financial training. None. And yet, for what, 30 plus years, he's been pulling the same scam. And people get hurt by his financial advice because it's not good. He puts people at high risk in a lot of situations. But it's a good show, isn't it? He's got a good pace to how he talks to make it sound more intelligent and sincere. He does. He has the fucking Captain Kirk cadence.
Not the Captain Kirk cadence. I mean, I love me some Star Trek. Let's be real. I like Star Trek a lot, but
it's that pause. Lacey, you have to wait because it's important, so you're intrigued. Yeah, that's what he does. That's why I play him faster, because when you play him a little bit faster, all that shit goes away. The theatrics go away.
right.
Plus, I don't want to sit here for fucking 5 minutes.
We want to keep our show a little bit shorter than it would be if we played him at regular speed.
Right.
Let's be honest.
The other thing is, we like to be honest. We don't want to bullshit you. We're just telling you. But that's the game. So, at the end of the day, that's the big con that you run into in finance. When somebody's promising that they're going to make you rich, they're probably full of shit. You know? You need to look at it. I mean, it could be, I'm going to make you rich because I'm going to hire you and pay you a shit ton of money. Oh, well, that might be valid. But, no, you need to give me money and I'll make you rich. That's always a fucking scam. So when anybody promises, listen to me, be abnormal and you'll be rich. You won't be broke. You'll be good. Which is what he just did. It was his whole speech. Just listen to me. You're getting conned. And thus endeth the lesson. You have anything else to add, Lace?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I guess I'll add, I'm an advocate of thinking for yourself.
I agree. Well, so since we're wrapping up, where can everybody catch you?
All right, so you can catch me at mysensewithsense.com. You can find blog posts. You can find information about coaching programs and courses where we teach you to think for yourself.
Lacey will not promise to make you rich.
No, I promise I will teach you to think for yourself.
And manage your money.
And manage your own money. And think for yourself when other people try to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
See, that's key too. Yeah, we like that. Anyway, so you can find that at mysensewithsense.com. If you have questions about coaching programs, articles, etc., or you want to send us any clips that you want us to look at, we would love that. Or write in with questions. How can they catch us, Duncan?
You can catch us at our email, just gossipfinancead@outlook.com. It'll be attached to the bottom. Yeah, and, if you're very upset with us, like people were last time, because, we said the horrible thing that women get paid less than men. That was terrible for us to say. We hurt a lot of white men's feelings by saying that. But if you're upset and you want to debate, we might be interested in that, so shoot us an email. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. You never know. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Good show. Thank you very much, Lacey, and we will catch you guys all later. Please like and subscribe. I think there'll be a thing that comes up. So have a good night.